All right, everyone. Welcome to another Mountain Man Monday for this January 20th, 2020. Actually, that is wrong. It is episode 15 of this Better Late Than Never Mountain Man Monday. I hope everybody is having a great start to your week. Going to go ahead and get that title fixed there and get that shown back again. There we go, episode 15. All right. So we will wait. This is late. I know it's late. I wanted to still kick it off just in case anybody was a little bit of a night out or still around. Life is full and busy, and hopefully we'll get a few folks to hang out and chat for a little bit here on, again, this late Mountain Man Monday. Got a little bit of a wide shot here going on, so hopefully can see everything that's happening here. It is hot where I am right now because it's very cold outside, and so the heat is blasting, and I feel warm. And I also have my long sleeve shirt on right now. Hey, Marvin Carlton, always nice to have you on the live stream. Good evening, and glad to have you again on this late Mountain Man Monday. I hope you're having a good start to your week, and things are going well. So yeah, just getting the week rolling here. Busy start to the week, part of the new year, and we finally got a cold blast, so it feels like it's actually winter. And we are going to have lows tonight, I believe, around 15 or so degrees. So it's a little bit chilly, although we haven't had much snow here in Western North Carolina. They're making snow up at the ski resorts, and I should just call them I don't know if they're necessarily resorts, but the ski locations that we have in North Carolina. And good to hear. So Marvin says, so far so good this week. Excellent. Yeah, that's good. You know, always like to have these Mountain Man Mondays to kick off the week because, again, it's depending on if you work or you're retired or what you got going on in life, sometimes Monday is the start of the work week. And so I like to get folks together and just say howdy. I was trying to think of the other week of the ski places here in Western North Carolina. And they are as follows because I couldn't remember all of the names. So there is Cataloochee Ski Area, Wolf Ridge Ski Area. There is also, let me check a couple others here. Beach Mountain Ski Resort. So Cataloochee is in Maggie Valley. Wolf Ridge is up there near Mars Hill. So that's just north of Asheville. There's a snow tubing park in Hendersonville, North Carolina. Not too familiar with that. Beach Mountain, North Carolina, which is, that looks to be up, well, it says Beach Mountain, North Carolina, but I'm trying to see what it's in proximity to. That's up near Sugar Mountain as well. So you've got Sugar Mountain and you've got Beach Mountain up there, and then there's one Sapphire Valley Ski Resort, and then, of course, Ober-Gatlinburg. So not that everybody's into skiing. I actually haven't done that much. I would love to explore those areas. I haven't yet, but I couldn't think of all the names, and they're all within 2 hours, really, of the Western North Carolina kind of Asheville, Blue Ridge Mountain area. Marvin says, we're at 22 degrees right now, but the wind chill makes it feel like 17. Yeah, it's a chilly night. Yesterday was funny because there's no leaves on the trees, so we have a window in the house that gets the direct sunlight, and I was in that room and I noticed how hot it was. So I put a thermometer that we had in the kitchen in that room, and the sun was coming through the room, and it said it was 96 degrees that by the window, and from that kind of solar heat coming in. But when I walked outside, it was like 28 degrees. So it was crazy. I was sweating. Thermometer says 96, but it's 28 degrees because of how powerful the sun was coming through that window that the sun was shining through. So that was kind of crazy. Yeah, so I knew this might be a little bit of a stretch being after 10 o'clock East Coast time. So there's a lot of early birds. And being Central time, we'll see if any folks from the middle part of the country or West Coast folks, or from other parts of the world end up rolling in here too. We've had some pretty good crowds here on the Mountain Man Mondays, but I apologize about the late start. In fact, I was talking to Chris about t-shirts tonight briefly, and I mentioned I probably wasn't going to do the live stream, but as the night got on and I got a little bit of time, I said, you know what, I'm just going to fire it up. 2 or 3 people, 5 people show up, have a quick chat. People can watch it later, and just wanted to say hello. Hopefully everybody's having a good start to their week. We got Crystal C. Hey, Mr. Mountain Man, and hey, Crystal C. Welcome to the live stream. Hope you're having a great start to your week as well. Just kicking it off here, talking about the chilly weather that has come this way. Finally, January feels like wintertime for real, because just a week or 2 ago, we had weather that was pushing 70 degrees. I'm not a big fan of that. I like the mountains. I like the stereotypical change of seasons. It's one of the small reasons, but one of the reasons left Florida for the perpetual summer. Some people like it. I like the change of seasons. It'll be due time when spring and summer comes around. But for right now, I'm real happy with the winter time that we have. So what else has been happening? Like I said, we haven't gotten any snow. I wish we did get some more snow, because I'd like to go outside and do a little sledding or something like that. Just see what it looks like. Maybe take some pictures or do some videos in the snow. The peaks of the mountains sometimes will get snow capped, like a typical picturesque scene where the top of the mountains will have snow, and then a little bit lower elevation don't. You can see that when you're in Gatlinburg, sometimes at Case Cove or Mount LeConte. Over here in Western North Carolina, Mount Mitchell, Mount Pisgah, and some of the other mountains, they will have snow-capped tops, and it's pretty cool. Yes, Marvin said Chris' video. Chris, this is Chris about t-shirts. YouTube channel had a video about a hotel at Christmas Place. I did begin to watch that this evening. I didn't finish it. I saw it. The Christmas Place in it's in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, for folks that aren't familiar, is a hotel that all the rooms are themed in Christmas decor. Obviously, the height of when to desire to be there would be around Christmas time. How perfect would that be? But it's a pretty cool thing to do no matter what time of the year. It's a pretty well-rated resort. Last time I remember checking on TripAdvisor. It's clean. And then Chris About T-Shirts made a walkthrough today. It's a really cool place. Very cozy looking hotel. From what I remember, I'm sure Chris could say to it more. I've driven by there several times and have looked at one staying there. Not much in the way of mountain views directly from there, unless there are some rooms. That's for those of you that are very familiar with the Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge area. It's very interesting because if you look geographically at the map, being Mr. Mountain Man, I love the mountains. The mountains very quickly, like when you're in South Carolina, go up in North Carolina, and then you get the Blue Ridge Mountains. And then very quickly in Tennessee, all of a sudden it kind of gets flat again. You experience a little bit of that as you exit Gatlinburg, come through the spur, and then get into Pigeon Forge. The more north you go, I forget what the route is, but through Pigeon Forge and towards I-40, the flatter it gets. Now you have distant mountain views, but the more north you get, as you pass the island and you go up towards the Christmas place and other places north, it depends on what part of a hotel or what you're at that maybe you have distant mountain views. If you're facing, I guess that would be south, potentially from your hotel room. Because I used to spend a lot of time looking, because when we would stay at hotels as opposed to cabins, depending on what part of the hotel, you might get a mountain view room, but the other side, it could just be flat. You might be looking at a parking lot, but the hotels are a lot more reasonable, with the exception of Christmas Place and themed places like that. The hotels do tend to get cheaper the more, the further you get away from Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge and go head north towards I-40. But yeah, I need to finish checking out that video. That's pretty cool. I like winter. It's about 10 degrees here in Ohio. Yeah. And Crystal, myself having grown up in Ohio and having a paper route when I was a kid, I remember some very, very cold days. I mentioned on a previous live stream, here you go. This is funny. Speaking of the devil, this is an old paperweight I have from when I was a kid of the Columbus Dispatch, honor carrier for 2 years. Now, I had a paper route for a lot more than 2 years. I think I ended up doing it for 5 or 6, almost 6 years through when I went to school. Yeah, I mean, that was back in the day. That a lot of adults do it now, but that was rain, snow, shine, 365 days a year, pulling newspapers on my back with one of those, traditional things. We couldn't do it on a bicycle. The papers were way too heavy. So, and the driveways, we had to deliver at the doorstep. It wasn't like today where you could put it at the foot of the door of the driveway. I had to walk up to I got very good at throwing the newspapers. Lots of stories from the paper out, and especially weather stories. I mean, I think I told this story. I used to wear ski masks when it would get really cold in Ohio. I'm talking like really cold. And I'll bump down here for a second. Hey, Sax and Matt, welcome to the live stream. And I'll bump back here into the chat in a second. I was just telling some stories, some anecdotes about cold weather and having a paper out when I was growing up. One of the ski masks that I wore was really tight around the eyes. So naturally rubbing on the side of my eyes, it would make my eyes water a little bit. Well, that water, if it was below zero, would make my eyelashes freeze. So I would have to take off my glove and pluck my eyelashes because they would begin to freeze shut because the wind coming in the neighborhood was so cold. So yeah, this Carolina cold, Tennessee cold is nothing like what I got when I was growing up in Ohio. In fact, I have a certificate one time for delivering newspapers on the coldest day in Central Ohio history, which was negative 24. That's not wind chill. With the wind chill, it was like negative 40. And so we're not talking about Canadian cold or even like probably Minnesota cold, but that's cold. And so, yeah, and didn't have like a lot of thermal lined fancy, stuff. I wore sweatpants and a coat and gloves and a big fat ski mask. And then my paper carrier thing, the thing that I loaded the papers, kind of acted like a shield too. So anyway, that was kind of a way to toughen you up as a kid and learn responsibility and stuff. Those were a different time because now I don't think kids deliver papers. Maybe in some cities, it's all adults in cars and they just chuck it out and they throw it at the top of the driveway or whatever, or, put it in one of those mailboxes at the top. So yes, back to Crystal, who made the comment about Ohio and said, I like winter. It's 10 degrees here. Yeah. And from time to time, I check in to see if you all are getting any snow, and to see what it's like compared to the mountains here. Marvin said, I like to stay there sometime, but it seems pretty expensive. This is in reference to the Christmas place. Yeah, because it's themed, they have different levels of rooms. So they have a nice, I've been to their website before. They have a good look at all the different rooms, and they go up through different pricing. Typical for, a hotel or lodging. So you pay for what you get and depends on how much you want to splurge and the time of the year. If you end up going there, I think at one time I checked, and I can't remember for which stay it was. Maybe it was a December stay, or maybe it was one when we went in April, and I just wanted to see how much it was. And I can't remember. I vaguely remember like prices being like for their entry level rooms, like $150 a night. And then you go up to the more glamorous suites and larger rooms, like $300-400 a night. Don't quote me on that. I mean, I haven't been on the site in a couple of years, but yeah, it's one of those things you're probably looking to experience something different and new. And I don't know if we'll ever stay there or not. We happen to be fans of the DoubleTree, and we've done cabins before. Now that we live a bit closer, we make a lot more, we consider more economical to do day trips. Although I do like to stay over in the area once or twice, usually once a year, it seems like these days. What Marvin says, one of the most spectacular views I've seen is from top of the wheel at the island. Took my breath away. Yes, because absolutely agreed, totally. And you're also going to get a great views of Mount LeConte, looking out to the Great Smoky Mountains. Again, that effect of kind of that more the valley type nature of Pigeon Forge and the flatness of it, looking out in the distance, and all of a sudden Mount LeConte goes up and just that spectacular view. So it is great. There are some nice, the closer you, where that spur, where like I'm going to say it wrong, but it's probably, the Paul Bunyan looking sign where the guy's got the axe where you're like coming right into Pigeon Forge. The closer you are to that, the better the views. Those first several, couple miles of hotels still look back at the mountains. But the farther you get down, it just depends on, you guys have experienced this just driving up and down, just to see what you see from your car. Let's see. Pamela, welcome to the live stream. I'm glad to have you here, and I hope you're having a great start to your week on this better late than never, Mountain Man Monday for January 20th, 2020, 20 days into the new year. So, yeah. All right. Yeah. I knew it might be, actually, I didn't know at first, and glad to see you all show up and join this. I didn't know how many folks would end up showing up. It's a little bit late. Some people, this is bedtime, like East Coast, like 10 o'clock, they're already asleep because they're waking up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. For me, this is, just getting in, a little bit later in the evening. Dust is settled and got a little bit of time. I was mentioning I wasn't planning on doing the live stream at first, but I just thought I'd connect with you all and talk a little bit. Hey, look at this. I haven't talked to Roxy Foxy and the Dr. J show. What's tonight's topic? We have lots of topics. So Roxy Foxy, glad to have you here, and I hope you're having a great start to your week as well. Welcome to Mountain Man Monday. So thus far, a little recap talking about winter has finally arrived. We talked about the Christmas place because the Chris About T-Shirts channel had done a review of that, talking a little bit about hotels and motels over in Gatlinburg and the lack of snow that we've had here in Western North Carolina, even though it's going to be very cold. I did see some flurries this morning, but nothing. In fact, it was kind of sunny outside, but you could see some flurries. Saxy Matt asked, just watched the Yitz, which is Yankee in the South, video of the llama trek today. Have you done it? No, I have not. And actually, I have not had the chance to check out that video. I saw it. Busy evening. They're releasing videos at 6 p.m. At Central or Eastern every day, and I catch up on those videos at various times. And so, Saxy, Matt, and Roxy, what's tonight's topic? I didn't know how many people we would get. We have an intimate, small crowd tonight. One of the things I was going to talk about, that's just a fun topic to talk about, are what hobbies and fun things do you all have? Like, what things do you guys enjoy? Obviously, we have a community here that we're connected by the mountains and whether it's Blue Ridge Mountains, Blue Ridge Parkway, Smoky Mountains, traveling, cabins, hiking, and all of those things that connect us as a community. But what other hobbies do you guys have? Do you like running, hiking, doing certain, different kinds of things? And, I kind of kick it off. One of the things that I enjoy doing is, so let me add this here. Let me create a banner. What hobbies do you all have? All right. And let's go ahead and show that. What hobbies do you all have? So some of the hobbies that I have, and you guys have seen it on the channel, obviously the mountains. I do like hiking. I am not an avid or a pro hiker like a Smoky Mountain hiker from his channel or some of the other folks that, are professionally into this and I just enjoy, like you all might do, like when I'm visiting Great Smoky Mountains or over here in North Carolina, I have a Chimney Rock doing some hikes. I love going out in the mountains. I like doing, even though I haven't done the winter sports as much, I like some of that. My motorcycle, I have a black and chrome Suzuki Marauder 1600. I did a video. I drove through the Blue Ridge Parkway. I'll do some more of that. I enjoy motorcycles. I enjoy cars. You saw my Myrtle Beach video. I have a older Mustang Cobra that I enjoy tinkering around with and just driving that. I also enjoy fitness and bodybuilding. So I enjoy lifting weights. I like to lift weights, and it's a good way to get active because, during the normal routine of the week, I do a lot of sitting. And so it's nice to get some balance in there. One of the other fun things I had brought this, I did bowling for a bunch of years, and I've actually bowled a 300 before. So how do I get this centered here? This is a 300 bowling ring from the USBC. There we go. Let's see if we can. There we go. I've actually had two 300s and a 299, and used to bowl in a league. Believe it or not, this is just a fun fact. I got my PBA card. Nothing really professional. To get a PBA card, all you had to do is hold a 200 average in a league, just a men's league or a mixed league. It didn't matter, and then have your league, I forget what they call it, secretary sign off on it. I used to pay for it. It was like $100 a year or something like that. I gave it up after a few years. I never did any tournaments or anything like that. I just wanted to say I did it. So those are some of my hobbies and some of my fun things that I do. I'm sure I missed a few things. I'm a tech guy. I like electronics and computers as well. Family, eating at fun places, lots of stuff. So let me check the chat here. Let's see if anybody chimed in and says what they have as a hobby. Let's see. Working blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Working second shift. Let me just scroll through there. Had a touch of snow ourselves. We eat, obviously. Yes. Yep. My hobby is YouTube. That's another one, Chris. That's right. And welcome, Chris. I was mentioning earlier, I mentioned you. I didn't think I was going to have a live stream tonight, and it's super late. That's why I didn't know how many people would show up, but I said, well, better late than never. Let me fire this thing up and see who shows up. YouTube. Yeah, YouTube is a hobby because I'm doing that as well. That's the crazy thing is you get into all these hobbies, and then it's a matter of time. And so doing that. So theme parks, we love roller coasters. Roxy, Foxy, and the Dr. J show, they like theme parks. So Roxy, Foxy, I haven't gone through. What are your favorite theme parks? I'm not a theme park enthusiast. One thing I've talked about before is the Cedar Fair Entertainment. My previous live streams, when I was growing up, they had and so if Crystal's still here, but Kings Island in Ohio, and they had Cedar Point, but Kings Island and Kings Dominion and Carowinds, they were all Paramount owned. And then Cedar Fair Entertainment that owns Cedar Point bought all these and a bunch of other ones. So it's pretty awesome that if you get a platinum pass, you can go to all these different theme parks around the United States for one price. So if I was into theme parks like an avid theme park person, I think I would look into that. That's pretty cool. Let's see here. Yep. And glad to have you. I know I'm a little bit behind. So Pamela says, we love to go boating and all the fun stuff that goes with it. Wakeboarding, tubing, fishing, cruising on the Ohio River. So Pamela, those are great things. Let me, one of the, if you like boating, so boating is something I never got into, but when I lived in Florida, I had some friends that had boats, not, like some people from work and whatnot. And so it was always nice to go on somebody else's boat because I saw the massive amount of work that goes into owning a boat. You have to have passion. Because I remember one of my friends or coworkers that had a boat always had to, when they would take it out, because there was a lot of salt water in Florida, they had to wash it off and, every day and, I don't remember, descale it and do this with the engine and purge it and maintenance and all this stuff. He used to tell me the two best days about owning a boat are the day you buy it and the day you sell it. So I know boating is a thing of passion. It's a thing I won't touch with a 10-foot pole because I know how much work it is. But if you're into it, it's great. It's especially in Ohio, you probably dry dock it or pull it into the yard or do something with it. And then you get all reinvigorated when the spring and the summer come around. One of the cool parts of Ohio, I don't know, you need a bigger boat, but one of the most underrated parts of Ohio is a place up north called Put-in Bay. And if any Ohioans know about that or have not been there, that's a pretty fun place to take the Jet Express and go up to Put-in Bay. It's honestly like a slightly mirror image of some place in Florida or the Caribbean when it comes summertime. It's kind of a neat thing. That would be a cool place to do a video, by the way, but I haven't been up there in several years. Yeah, so Saxy Matt made me think of it. I'm a professional musician, particularly in the jazz genre, hence my channel's name, and enjoy bowling, fishing, video games, and golf. That's awesome. Yeah, I assume by the picture, Saxy Matt, will you forgive me if I say the wrong instrument? Is that an oboe or I'm completely off? Let me know, educate me, because that's not my my specialty, obviously. And bowling is fun, like we just talked about it. Fishing was another thing in Florida I never really got into. I wanted to. You had to get a fishing license. It was only like 15 bucks. You used to be able to fish off the piers, and there were all kinds of different fish. It's all about that time management, because I was, with a family and work, and I'm already into motorcycles. Motorcycles is kind of can be a time-consuming hobby, because if you buy it, you want to ride it. So you might go out on a Saturday for 4, 5, 6 hours, or a Sunday, and and then you come back and you're tired, and so you just pick and choose. Video games are awesome. We have an Xbox. The computer, over the years, since I was a kid, I had Atari 2600 for those that are, dating ourselves. I had a Nintendo 8-bit, Super Nintendo. I had a Panasonic 3DO. I had a Philips CDI. I was really into like changing my video game systems like all the time. I had a Sega CD. I had a Sega Game Gear. I had a Nintendo 64, PlayStation 2, and then Xbox One. There is my rundown of the consoles that I have had in my life. Video games, these days I don't play too much, because they are like a time warp, and time is the most precious thing I have right now. So if I step into a video game, all of a sudden, bye-bye 4, 6, 8 hours. I love playing them. I hope that when I get older and I have a lot more time on my hands, that I still enjoy video games, because I'd love to get back into it. I think they're so much fun, but they take so much time. And golf. Golf is another interesting one. When I was a kid, in the summer, I used to golf with my dad at a public golf course and had a lot of fun. Never was on a team or anything like that. When I was in college, I had a job one summer at a driving range. That was an awesome job. I got to drive the little thing that picked up the balls and run the driving range. That was fun. But I haven't done it in a bunch of years. One of the things I like about golf is I didn't take it too seriously, so I found it very therapeutic, because the beautiful rolling greens and the scenery, I always found it low stressful to me, because I wasn't super competitive. I mean, it'd be frustrating when I would tee off and the ball would go like a hole over. I'm not exaggerating, because I just never got trained properly. So yes, that was frustrating, a little embarrassing, but I still liked the game of golf, and it was fun. So yeah, those are some cool hobbies, Sexy Matt. Thank you for chiming in there. Nice ring. Been bowling since I was 5. So Pamela, are you on a league? Do you just do it casually? I probably was bowling since that age too. I've taken a hiatus the last few years. Again, some of my hobbies I blurted out. I think I've spent a little bit more time bodybuilding and exercising and doing things like that these days. But I did bowling. I stopped doing it 2 or 3 years ago, but I have a 3-ball bag and, few balls. I need to get a new one and get one re-drilled and shoes and all that stuff. I really enjoyed it, but it's a time commitment, and with family and all that stuff, it's just another thing I have to decide. But I do like bowling. Bowling is a fun thing. One of the cool things about bowling too, it doesn't matter, rain, shine, winter, summer, there's always leagues, and you get to meet some interesting and fun people. And yeah, so bowling's a cool thing. I so envy you. So you bowled a 300 in a sanctioned league. I did. Here you go, Matt. This is a crazy story. I was feeling really good this day. It was the start of the league, the fall winter league. It started at the end of August. So this ring is actually from August 29th, 2007. It was the first night of league, and it was the first game. And I rolled a 300, and I remember the lady said, "I've never seen anybody do that." For those of you that have bowled run leagues and stuff like that, I actually not associated with my PBA card that I got, but I rolled in a PBA league once, and what that means was they put oil down on the lanes, and believe it or not, there's a whole science about how the sport is and stuff. But the oil patterns in the real PBA are very, very difficult. It's hard to move your ball. It's hard to make it maneuver. The patterns are very thick. They have like Scorpion and some other ones. And I remember rolling in one of those leagues, and my average, instead of like a 200, went down, no joke, to like a 140 or 150. Extremely tough. But in a house league, there's a little bit of a hidden agenda there. They want people to roll and enjoy themselves. So they kind of put these cupcake patterns on that allow people to have more success in leagues. It doesn't mean you can just toss a Easter egg out there and just make it happen. But if you know a little bit and you're halfway decent, there used to be 300s, people rolling 300s weekly on sanctioned leagues. I only rolled 2. I'm not saying it's easy, because you start to get nervous by that, the 10th frame, and that's, first, second, third ball, and your nerves are going, and you're like, start thinking about, oh, I'm going to get a 300, and this is going to happen. Everybody's going to clap, and this is great. And I can tell my wife, my friends, blah, 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 blah. So you start getting all that in your head. You kind of got to be like, no big deal. So I think most people fail and get like 10 in a row or 11 in a row, and then get like 297s, 296, 299s before they get a 300. So anyway, I'm probably boring you people that don't like bowling or have never bowled or don't give a hoot about bowling. But those of you that are interested, yeah, that's a kind of a fun Mr. Mountain Man story right there for, again, my 300 ring. The other 300 that I rolled was in practice. And my, unfortunately, because it wasn't in a sanctioned league, but there's 2 cool facts about that. This was a time when phones, I had an HTC phone that had 2 lenses on it, but it's not like the ones today that have a wide lens and a narrow lens. It was actually a 3D camera. So this was like 2010 probably. And I was with a buddy from work, and we went to roll some practice games. And I got to the 12th ball, which means you're about to get 300. And I told him, I said, hey, record this in 3D on my phone. He said, I don't want to mess you up. I said, I don't care. This is me. I said, if I don't get it, I don't care. And it's not because of that camera or you recording. But if I do get it, I got a 3D video of me bowling a 300. So he recorded it. Sure enough, boom, pow, and I got a 300. It was cool. But after I told my parents that, I was like, oh, I got a 300, but it wasn't on a sanctioned league. So I don't get anything for it. They had this nice plaque made up. I should have brought that to the live stream. It's this round plaque. It's actually, it's about this big, and it says, rolled a 300, and it has the date on it and stuff like that. So, and then I rolled a 299, and I did get a plaque, a sanctioned award for that. It showed all the strikes, and then like a 9. I gave that to my dad. And then I had a bunch of 700 series and stuff. But yeah, bowling's fun, reminiscing about bowling. Let's see here. My stepdad bowled for over 40 years and only ever got a 300 once when he was just bowling with his brother. Yeah, I mean, that's how it happens. Just like I said, the anecdote about practicing, sometimes it happens. I think the people that roll a lot and kind of start to get ice water through their veins and don't make it out to be such a big thing. And then remember what I talked about, oil patterns, like the fact that, the house is putting down a more generous pattern for house leagues so that you can roll a higher average. You start getting out on that head and get some confidence. If you're a decent bowler, you're probably going to get that. Hi, Chris. Looks like you enjoyed your llama. Yeah, I haven't. Again, I didn't get to check out that video. But, Chris, we talked a bunch at the beginning about your Christmas place and some of the things I had seen when investigating that place before and some of my perspective. I haven't stayed there, but, yeah, defer to Chris about T-shirts to check out his channel if you all haven't. Marvin Carton, I'm also a professional musician in the classical genre. I love traveling to various places, especially when my music is being performed. Yeah, and Marvin, you were just over in Europe, correct? And we had talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry, lots of things going around in my head. But yeah, I envy you guys. My grandmother is a professional musician. She is 92 years old and still to this day plays the piano and the organ. And it's pretty darn impressive. Any musician. In fact, I was watching a documentary last night on Netflix with my wife about the music of the period between 1965 and 1967 that came out of Laurel Canyon, California. If you like 60s music, 60s rock and some of that, you might enjoy this. And I sure did. Talking about bands like the Byrds, Buffalo Springfield, Beatles, Beach Boys, Mamas and the Papas. It wasn't very long. It was only like an hour and a half, but I just remember saying to my wife, I'm like, these people are incredible. I'm so jealous. Like, I would love to play the guitar. That would be another hobby. I wish, like probably acoustic guitar, I think is really awesome. So I envy, I just think musicians are, you guys are incredible. You really are. I enjoy renting a boat and staying in a suite in a lodge overnight by myself at a lake near Oxford, Ohio. Sometimes I go more than twice a year. That's really cool. Yeah, Crystal, we've got Pamela and Crystal talking about boating in Ohio. Ohio is not the mecca of water, but Buckeye Lake, what was it? Was it the Ohio River? We talk about Lake Erie, but Lake Erie, you probably have to have a bigger boat, but it depends if you're in like a place where before the breakers and maybe a smaller boat, ponds and other kinds of things like that. Of course, you can trailer your boat to other states. So that's awesome. Yeah, boating is is like, it's passion. You got to have passion about it because of the amount of effort that I know and the cost that goes into boating. But boy, what a reward to be able to in this summer go out and just relax. Boating is very cool. You can call us Dr. J. Okay. I keep saying the whole thing. You're probably like, Mr. Mountain Man, stop that. All right. So if I forget, remind me again. Dr. J. I like that. Dr. J. Dr. J. Isn't that like a jazz guy out of like used to play down New Orleans? Dollywood is hands down our favorite. Even took it into consideration when we moved into the mountains. Yeah. And I personally, crazy as it sounds, I haven't been to Dollywood yet. Obviously, I've seen just a plethora of videos from the community around here. My wife really wants to go. It's something we'll be incorporating into our fun and entertainment, certainly within the next few years. I like Kings Island, Holiday World, Dollywood, Universal Studios, Island of Adventure. Yeah, you got a mix there, Marvin. So we got Florida, we got Tennessee, we got Ohio, and Holiday World. I am not familiar with Holiday World. Rather than waiting for you to respond below, I'm going to check it out. And Holiday World is a theme park in Santa Claus, Indiana. Oh, neat. That's pretty cool. I had not heard of that before. So that's really cool. Yeah, so up in the Midwest, we got a bunch of places like that. And Dr. J says, Holiday World is amazing. Saxy Matt, I did enjoy my llama. I have not seen Will's video yet, but I know in person it was a rough hike for me. I'm not used to that. Yeah, so I haven't seen the video yet, but I believe it's Chris About T-shirts, Cashew Paul, What About Dawn, Yankee in the South, Will and Dawn, and Chris About T-shirts. And I didn't see if Mindy was in that yet. I haven't had to check. I haven't had a chance to check into that. Holiday World is 2 hours from me. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, boating get costly, but we do love it. Yeah, and I wouldn't say that's a deterrent. I wasn't. Yeah, certainly not poo-pooing on it or being pessimistic. It's a passion hobby, but again, the reward is just. I mean, when we lived in Florida, we had another friend take us out in the Intercoastal. That was fun because it was really hot and we were jumping in. And so that was pretty cool. The only downside is like a nincompoop, I forgot to take off my wedding ring and lost it in the Intercoastal. So I donated a little bit of gold to the ocean, basically. But other than that, boating is really cool. And did that a couple of times down there. And so, yeah, Florida, by the way, is a great place for boating. So all of you, if you ever want to drag your boat down there, you'll have a never ending amount of fun. I'm sure it might cost a lot in gas to get it down there, but it's pretty cool. We used to live about 3 hours away from Holiday World, Marvin Carlton. Now we live in East Tennessee. Yeah, Dr. J says that. We'll have to check out more about that. I enjoyed Kings Island more than Dollywood. As a kid, we went to a park called Americana, which is long gone now, shaking my head. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Americana. You'll have to let us know where it is. Kings Island, I didn't go to a ton growing up, but I did go to it when they still had the roller coaster. I think it's called Flight Deck or something, but it was Top Gun back then because I'm a big Top Gun fan. It's my favorite movie of all time. I'm looking forward to Top Gun 2 coming out this year. So Top Gun, they had that roller coaster. That was back when the Beast and the Son of Beast was around. Son of Beast has since closed. If you're a roller coaster enthusiast, you probably already know that story, but there's some great Crystal, 2 tangents. There are some tremendous documentaries on the creation of Kings Island. If you're really into that and the history, if I'm not incorrect in my remembering of it, the owners of Coney Island, yeah, like Coney Island, New York, wanted to build another park, and that's what ... spawned and ended up being Kings Island. They wanted the Coney Island of like in Ohio, and that's what ended up happening. And there were people that came over and got that park started. So there are some really, really cool documentaries because just kind of a nostalgic spot for me growing up in Central Ohio. So yeah, that was fun. And it's the clarinet. So I was wrong, not the oboe, clarinet. Thank you, Saxy Matt, for telling me. Hey, Jubilee and Joe. Hey, sorry for the late hello. I'm still, I like to go through all the comments. Pretty rough hike with the llama, Chris. Joe and I do not hike. Yeah, so, you know, that's the great thing about YouTube. Live vicariously through others. If you don't want to do the hike, watch somebody else hike. Put it up on the big screen and, you know, put your blinders on, and it's like being in the hike. It's pretty cool. But it also gives you an opportunity, if you do like hiking, to see if it's strenuous or not. And yeah, you know, I'm not an avid hiker. The only advice I've ever given is stay hydrated, drink lots of water. What I always clarify is lots of water is, I jokingly say, because it's in Gatlinburg, if a lot of people go there, doesn't mean 2 sips of water as you're leaving the wonderful pancake breakfasts that we go to all the time. And I say that jokingly. I mean literally plenty of water. Stay hydrated no matter what time of the year it is. Wear good hiking shoes, wear the right stuff, and don't go on funky paths. A lot of this stuff seems obvious, but you'd be surprised. You guys all know, you see these articles about people going off the path and getting lost and sad endings and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I respect people that say, I'm not going to do that hike. That's just too much for me. Even me, like, I mean, I consider myself a pretty fit person, but like, I'm not an experienced, like, advanced hiker. So, you know, anything beyond like 5 or 7 miles, I'd probably start going, who am I going with? You know, and are they an advanced hiker? You know, that kind of stuff. But I'd love to try, but would love to try. That was in reference to the hike. My brother plays the clarinet. Cool. Yeah. Again, musicians, a lot of respect for you guys. Sax players need to play other woodwinds like clarinet, flute, etc. That makes sense. Right? Like the family of those instruments that you get used to playing a lot. I think over the years that the things I said, I'm jealous. I would love to play acoustic guitar. I would love to, you know, in a different lifetime, I would love to play the violin, and I would love to play the piano. When I hear an orchestra, those instruments just ignite, you know, the rhythm and the song in me. Just the piano and the violin. Well, of course, all the pieces together are amazing. But yeah. Anyway, those are some things I would like to. Yeah, you know, if I had 40 hours in a day, I don't know. Mindy used to play the clarinet too. That's cool. That's cool. Say hello to Mindy, by the way. We all say hi here on the Mr. Mountain Man channel to Chris and Mindy over there. Been a lot of live streams with Chris and Mindy, guys, by the way, over on the Yankee in the South and Chris About T-shirts. I don't know if Cashew Paul's fired up any, but there's been a lot of content. So if you guys want to check them out, or if anybody happens to be watching this, I know I've gotten a few new subscribers recently. If you're new to the community or you've seen one of my videos and you came from another direction other than the community that's here, check out some of these other channels that I've been mentioning throughout, or click on the folks' names, because a lot of these people have YouTube channels themselves. I'm a small channel as it stands, but I always love supporting and broadcasting and socializing the great folks of this community. Crystal said, same here. Grew up going to Kings Island and Americana. So I'm going to look that up. Americana theme park. Yeah, it was in Ohio. I didn't even know that. All right. Middleton, Ohio, which, okay, Middleton, that's down near Cincinnati, I believe, right? And so the only parks that I went to that closed down, I can't remember if we actually went or not. We went to SeaWorld, which was next to Geauga Lake, and Geauga Lake closed. Again, if you're a theme park person, YouTube has the best. I love documentaries, by the way. I love documentaries about the mountains. I love documentaries about theme parks, even though I may not go to all of them. I love documentaries about Disney World anything, Dollywood, it doesn't matter. I just like documentaries. And so if you got the nostalgia and you like that kind of stuff, YouTube is just amazing. In fact, to go on a little tangent, as I do on my live streams, years ago, before the proliferation of YouTube and the internet and streaming video and the cloud and the ability to have all this content at our fingertips, I honestly would hover over eBay a lot, trying to find old VHS tapes and things like that were like documentaries of certain areas, like I said, Disney or something else, and maybe pick one up to watch it. Now, somebody could have recorded a program off of PBS or NBC from 1984 that may not be on a streaming service, has uploaded, made it digital, and has it available. I mean, it's just amazing how we can connect, time and go back to whenever we want and enjoy some video of a different time period because of what's there. It's just pretty cool. So Americana, yeah, that's pretty cool. I did not go there. That was down in Cincinnati, but I just looked it up there. Yes, Miss Americana. Let's see. Oh, cool, Chris. Yep, it's a fun instrument. I play the Benny Goodman style and Dixie style. Okay, cool. That's very, very nice. Jubilee Joe was a rough hike for me, easy for everyone else, it looked like. Yep, and so again, back to the hiking, I think we talked about that, but I'll have to check out those videos. There's a video on YouTube of what Americana looks like now. So sad. Yeah, that's another thing I like on YouTube. So speaking of nostalgia, let's go into some other video topics I like. Like for a while there, I really got into abandoned videos. What is it called? Sunbright Films or something like that. I forget the name of the YouTube channel. Like they'll go into like old abandoned K-marts, old abandoned Circuit Cities, or abandoned Days Inn. And I also like documentaries about the rise and fall of a lot of things we grew up with. And I know we're a diverse age group here, but I find it fascinating. Like I always talk about K-mart. What happened with K-mart? K-mart was massive when I was growing up. We didn't go to Walmart. We went to K-mart. But the long and the short of K-mart's history, watching documentaries about it, was in the 90s. They gobbled up, I think it was Office Max, and like, it wasn't, I can't remember if it was Sports Authority or another one. They basically acquired a few other chains to grow their empire. But this was at the time that was just at the dawn of the internet. So it wasn't really great to be in the business of buying brick and mortar stores. On top of that, Kmart never evolved their store design. So as other stores like Target and Walmart, everybody likes the Target experience and the glossy floors and the more refined look. Kmart still had those long halogen bulbs. In fact, the last Kmart here in the Asheville area just closed last year, and we were shopping there a lot because they had great deals. They were basically giving stuff away. I'm not talking about going out of business sale. It's just the prices were actually really competitive because they were at a last straw to try to save, and help the business. And their Shop Your Way rewards points. I mean, you would get a receipt at the register that would be like, spend $40, get $40 to spend in the future. It was crazy. It was really good for that recent few years, but Kmart didn't evolve their stores. People started going to other stores. You had the recession happen, and you watch in the 2000s, their sale and their stock just kept going down. Sears and Kmart came together. A lot of people don't know, but Kmart actually bought Sears, but they kept the Sears Roebuck name. And so it was, Sears, and this is the parent company. I know that Chris about T-shirts has mentioned he has worked there before, so he can fact check me on any of this. But anyway, I enjoy what happened, like what happened to all these places we used to go to. And I'm not saying that I'm like old grumpy grimace, like, because I shop on Amazon all the time. The world evolves. But what happened, I'm also a big fan of Craftsman tools. Love Craftsman tools. And they used to be made in the United States to be competitive, because I do shop at Harbor Freight too. It's really difficult to set a sell of professional wrenches from Craftsman brand made in the USA at $80 when Harbor Freight is selling them for $15. And most of your home mechanics cannot justify the cost of spending $80 on wrenches So that really put pressure, and then they had to offshore it as well. And a lot of their stuff's made in China now. And I'm not getting into the politics of, oh, it's made in China, USA. I'm just, the quality, the brand and stuff was cool. But I understand that. So it wasn't like Snap-on or Mac that professional mechanics could justify the expense. So anyway, here's a gaggly-goo of knowledge about, me and things I'm interested in, about how the world has evolved and things changed over the years. And so I like the documentaries and learning about that stuff on YouTube. I don't know if you guys find any of that stuff interesting too. If you do, let me know. Okay. Might have to lose some weight before October. Oh, you mean is that when you're going, Jubilee and Joe, to do the hike? Yeah. But again, there's lots of different hikes over there. If you're talking about Gatlinburg or Western North Carolina, I think my second video from this channel was doing the old cliche Cataract Falls hike, which is about as flat as it can get. It's also got a reward at the end of seeing a beautiful falls. You've got the visitor center up front. Cool video if you haven't checked it out. Again, if you scroll through my videos, second video I ever did, that's a great one for novice or beginner hikers. I've even seen people push strollers through there, which means you probably could do a wheelchair. If anybody has somebody elderly or whatever, some of these hikes you can do stuff like that. Sex Matt, many years ago, I played concert with Benny Goodman. Oh, that's really cool. It's very cool. Oh, wow. Sorry, guys. You know what happened? I'm looking at the scroll bar, and, I'm using this StreamYard stuff, and the scroll bar only looked like I had 2 more messages. So I was like, oh, nobody's talking about what I'm talking about. And then all of a sudden I move it, and there's like 100. So sorry. Let me do rapid fire. Let's see. I've seen that video. Crystal, that's the one about Americana that you're referring to, that Pamela mentioned. Marvin, what do you play? Mr. Mountain Man is on the professional arm wrestling circuit. Movie Over the Top, little known fact. I'll give you another little known fact, Chris. I love that movie, Over the Top. With Stallone, I own that on Blu-ray. I watched it about 2 months ago. He drives a, what is it? He drives the Mack truck, I think, and his son comes and he does that championship in Las Vegas. And then his trick is to, move the thumb like over the top and get down. So anyway, yeah, Chris got me. I love that movie. That's a fun movie. Oboe and English horn were my major instruments. I also play sax, clarinet, piano, and organ. Hey, we got people with some stuff in common here. It doesn't surprise me, but that's really cool. I also play sax, clarinet, piano, organ, brass, bassoon, and now getting into ukulele. That's really cool. Little known fact, Mr. Mountain Man built the mountain that he now lives on. Yeah, is this like the Chuck Norris thing? I built the mountain that I live on, Mr. Mountain Man's mountain. That'd be a pretty funny picture, right? I built this mountain. That's pretty good, Dr. J. That's cool. That's cool. I've wanted to learn to play banjo. Yep. No, that is funny. Yeah, I like that, by the way. I should keep that banner. I should start my live streams with that. I built this mountain that I live on. I want to learn lap steel guitar. Oh, very cool. Learned a hammered dulcimer. Okay. And yes, that is interesting. And Marvin was in Croatia, where the principal flutist of the Vienna Philharmonic recorded one of my pieces. And that is, that's an accomplishment of life. Again, congratulations. That is really, really cool, Marvin. Hey, PT Adventures A6, welcome to the chat. Sorry, I know you've been here for a few minutes. I apologize. I didn't get to that hello a little bit earlier. Welcome to the live stream. Got a few more minutes. We'll be around. I know it's later. Thanks for everybody for joining in. We've had a fun chat tonight, talking about hobbies and nostalgia, theme parks, winter, all kinds of stuff. Oh, Dr. J says, little known fact, Mr. Mountain Man once wrestled a bear when he was only 3. Yeah, that one. Yeah, and I won, but it was a struggle at first. So I like that. Little known facts. These are cool. Thanks, Dr. J. That's cool. That's cool. Put a smile on my face. Hey, Cashew Paul, welcome to the live stream. Yeah, we were talking about you having time with Chris Bow T-shirts and Yankee in the South and been on some live streams recently. So welcome to the chat. I'm glad to have you here. Hope you're having a great week and good to see you again. It's good to see you. Let's see. Yeah, welcome, Paul. I saw you went on a llama trek. And let's see. Kings Island is great. Yes. We were just talking about one of the things I was mentioning is that there's a lot of documentaries about, there's some great ones about Kings Island. So if you're a Kings Island like that nostalgia, look for it on, I'll tell you another fun fact. Look for those documentaries on YouTube. There's also, if you like the Brady Bunch, or if you don't, they did a Brady Bunch episode from Kings Island. And that was one of the only shows I think that was ever filmed there, like the pop shows, you know, so, or sitcoms, I should say. I thought it was a weird horse ride, Chris. Yeah, a weird horse instead of a llama. My mom said she went to Kings Island their opening day in 1972. Yeah. And so there were a lot of facts about the road and how they did it. They said, again, in that documentary that opening day was like a disaster. Not the problem at the park. They're just like nobody showed up. But as the time went on, the crowds accelerated and it became a big, big hit. Hey, sexy man, I appreciate it. Thanks for the thumbs up. I always, you know what, guys, I don't ever want to glaze over that. When people say stuff like that, I mean, it just humbles me. Thanks for doing that. You know, yeah, success on YouTube. I mean, the validation that this is, you know, you enjoy spending time with me. That's fantastic. So anyway, if you do that, I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you. That's very cool. Hey, Miss Mountain Mom. Hello. Caught you at the tail end here. Looks like 10:50 and it is, I'm 13 minutes behind. Oh, okay. I play an iPod. That's a good one, Cashew Paul. You can do that. You just fire up the music and do that. So you're a DJ. I'm always fired up. And yes, welcome to Mr. Mountain Man Mom. And let's see. Sarah Rathbone. How long have you lived in Western North Carolina? I've lived here all my life. So Sarah Rathbone, only lived here for a few years. I did live in the Charlotte area for about 8 years. Grew up in Central Ohio and also did a stint down in Florida for a job down there. I lived there for about 12 years. So, yeah. Now, I have always loved the mountains and always had an affinity and enjoyed the mountains. So, just something that took, you know, life to move along and evolve to a place where it could make it happen. And I just absolutely love it here. So, it's cool that you've been here and got to experience this your whole life. Hello everyone. Karen Story, that's great. Hey Karen, it's really cool to have you here tonight. Welcome to the live stream. I hope you're having a great start to your week and doing well. Yeah. Do you remember Fantasy Farm in Cincinnati? I do not, but we've got some pros here tonight talking about Americana. We had Kings Island. So does Pamela or Crystal remember Fantasy Farm? So that would be a good question for you all. And again, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit behind. Hey, Dr. J, great chat. Good having you here. I'm sorry if I missed saying good night to you. I'm a few minutes behind. If you watch the tail end of this, I hope you have a great week. Yes, Pamela does remember. So again, I'm a little bit behind. Oh my, yeah. Hello, Karen. Yep, Karen is here. And yeah, good old Circuit City. Yeah. There's some great documentaries. I actually used to work at Blockbuster Video back in the day. I was there at a time period where Friday night, this was, you know, pre-Netflix, it was still the video store era. We would have a line going around the store on a Friday night. Like I'm talking like 50 people in line. And there was nothing that would make people more angry than them coming up to me at the register and giving me 3 tapes or DVDs maybe at the time. And I would say, and tell them that they had a previous late fee they had to pay, and the late fees were big. I mean, you don't go to the grocery store and they're like, hello, so-and-so, Mr. Smith. Yeah, you have a balance of $40. People would get livid. It really actually helped carve me to have some communication skills because we weren't allowed to roll over. We did have an ability to cut some of that fees off. But, you know, at a ripe young age, I had to learn to deal with that professional conflict. It's kind of funny. It was a pretty good job. Bought my first, don't want to block you. If I accidentally ever block anybody, make sure, I don't know how you would say it. I was like, I clicked on the message and it said block. I'm not blocking any. Brought my first laptop at Circuit City. Yeah, I still have a TV from Circuit City. And Crystal and Pamela did. So they're probably like, yes, we answered it. I miss Radio Shack. You could get components to build your own stuff. Cashew Paul, I think Radio Shack still exists. I mean, yeah, you could get, I mean, if you were really into electronics, you could get resistors and transistors from the small in the back of the shop and soldering irons. And then as you move to the front, TVs. One of our first family computers came from Radio Shack. It was a Tandy, maybe T1000 or something like that. I forget the model. This was pre-Windows. So it was a 286, I believe, processor. K-mart and the Blue Light Specials. Yep, that was their last stab at doing the Blue Light Specials. And your Kmart had a restaurant. Our Kmart had Little Caesars in it for a while. And so I remember going in there and having some Little Caesars. Do you remember Lion Country Safari at Kings Island? And I do not remember that. Does anybody else remember that? And yes, on the Radio Shack. Not that long ago, it's been a few years since I was at the mall, but there was a Radio Shack at the mall. So actually, let me just see. Are they still in business? Radio Shack. Let's see. Yes, they are. There is one. Well, would you look at that? There is one in there's one in Gatlinburg. There is a Radio Shack in Gatlinburg. 1357 Parkway in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It is right next to, you guys probably already know this if you're from the area. Super Suds Coin Laundry and Discount Cigarettes and Beer. Sandwich right in between. There's a little Radio Shack there. So if you want to go to Radio Shack, you can check it out there in Gatlinburg on your next vacation. That's pretty cool. Karen says, part of what happened to Kmart was Walmart started building stores in large metro areas instead of just smaller outlying areas and smaller towns. That's right. And I know I'm referring to something from 15 minutes ago. They didn't involve their store facade, their inside, the shopping experience. The stores were dated. That was a phrase I use a lot. The stores were dated. As I mentioned, they acquired a bunch of brick and mortar companies in the late 90s, but it was moving toward the internet. So some companies that were starting, like this little company called Amazon, and other e-commerce retailers, it's this perfect storm of kind of bad decisions, and it didn't work out. And, including an elderly person. Oh, well, we like I said, we have a diverse group of ages here. No, I don't remember the Lion Safari. Do you remember what years they had that? Probably the 70s. So yeah, Cashew Paul. So somebody had remembered it was the opening date was in 1972, I believe. That would have been probably in that era, I guess. Check out YouTube. And hello, Mr. Mountain Man Mom from Karen's story. Karen's awesome. Karen is on a lot of the live streams, and it's just a staple of this community. So welcome again. I missed it then, Cashew Paul. I was born in 1979. So that probably have to look at some of those documentaries I was mentioning. I was at the Kings Island opening also. You were? I didn't know that, Mom. Were you really? Like, I have to get more information about that. That's pretty cool. Surprise! We didn't go to Kings Island much growing up. I don't think the first time I went to Kings Island was in high school, but I didn't like roller coasters that much growing up. I mean, that's the straight up truth. Hey, Art of Abandonment Adventures. I know everybody's AAA. I hope you're having a good day and a good evening on this Better Late Than Never Mountain Man Monday. I'm extremely old, Crystal. I saw Evel Knievel jump 13 buses at Kings Island, I think, in 1977. That would have been really cool, by the way. Evel Knievel, that's awesome. I was there when he did that. Okay, so we had AAA there. We had our high school grad night at Kings Island. Been many times to the park. Yeah, Karen, so that's something I have in common with you. We didn't have grad night, but I went there after prom. Prom was like on a Friday or Saturday, and we went to Kings Island the next day. A small group of friends. And so, yeah, kind of similar. Karen, are you from Ohio too? I mean, you don't have to say, but a lot of us, I grew up in Central Ohio. My folks still live there. We've got Pamela, we got Crystal from Ohio. So a lot of people that have some Ohio roots are still there. That would have been cool to see. Let's see here. Oh, sorry. The safari was awesome. I was sad when they closed it. I found my old Blockbuster membership card not long ago. I can still remember my membership number under the barcode because as an employee, we had to type that in. I got really good at the keypad too because, oh man, I'll give you another anecdote. One of the stinky things about working at Blockbuster back then is we had to do inventory once a month. Inventory meant you came in at midnight and you went home at 8 o'clock in the morning. And what you did is you used those little scanners and you scanned every single last thing in that store by hand. So 6 or 8 of us, every Snickers bar, every Gobstoppers, every Twizzlers, every video, everything. And guess what? When it didn't match and it didn't reconcile, we had to go out and find it and see if we missed it. Inventory, that's not a part I liked about Blockbuster Video. Let's see. I remember Lion Country. Anybody remember the deli inside Kmart and the ham subs? So again, we had Little Caesars in our Kmart, but somebody else mentioned they had a restaurant in their Kmart. I'll give you another crazy one. Did any of you guys from Ohio remember Lazarus, the department store? We had those in Columbus, and I'm not sure if they were outside of Columbus or not. They may have only been there. I don't know if they were down in Cincinnati or not. But Lazarus, if anybody in Mr. Mountain Man Mom, you're not eligible for answering yes to that because you obviously know Kmart or Lazarus. I mean, there are all kinds of old department stores. We had Gold Circle. There was Kmart. Remember kids' places? We had Children's Palace. Of course, Toys R Us. That came and went. We had I'm trying to think of some other department stores that have come and gone. That was a few of them. I think they closed Safari after a lion mauled an employee to death. Yeah, that's terrible. Plus, nowadays with PETA and stuff like that, I mean, even SeaWorld is probably, it's very difficult for them. They've had to evolve over the years because of, I got into a philosophical debate one time on YouTube with people about it. Somebody said they shouldn't lock up the whales. That was their argument. I was playing a little bit of devil's advocate. I don't think you could call me a troll, but I was thinking of the logic behind it. And by the way, I'm a pet owner, so you'll understand before I go. But I said, oh, you mean like how we, they said you shouldn't lock up the whales, or what are they called, the killer whales? There's a name for them, and I'm sorry, forget what they're called. But they shouldn't lock them up for people's enjoyment. So I said, oh, that's interesting. You mean like we do for dogs, cats, birds, gerbils, blah, 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 blah. We lock all those pets up for our enjoyment. And somebody's like, well, they're domesticated. I'm like, well, they were made domesticated. I mean, they're wild animals that we domesticated them. So why, if somebody's domesticating a whale, they can't, well, they're big. And I'm like, so this precludes them because of size. And I was really playing devil's advocate, and you probably call me a troll, but the logic behind it was, it seemed like people picked and choose their battles about what should be allowed in captivity for enjoyment versus not. Because technically dogs and cats and all these other things were wild animals at once. We domesticated them. And I'm a dog owner. We have a dog and I love it. So I really wasn't all that passionate. I just found it hypocritical and a little bit of a double standard. I didn't see that the logic was consistent. Anyway, silly story. It's getting late here. Good night. Sorry, Sexy Matt. I probably missed that by about 7 minutes. That's correct, Cashew. Night, Matt. Night. Everybody said night, Matt. Let's see. I'm a little bit behind. Yeah. Kmart had sit-down diners like roast beef and mashed potatoes. That was a long time ago. By the way, I love the conversation about Kmart tonight. Some great nostalgia. I know what Kmart you're talking about. I missed the Kmart. Waynesville just went out in December. Oh, Sarah, that's crazy because last time I looked on the internet, I thought that one out there in Waynesville was still open, and I actually was going to go out there to see what they had. Poop. So I guess they closed. Oh, thanks for the information. Waynesville's a beautiful area, by the way. I'm 2 hours down I-71 from Cincy. Have relatives there in Cincinnati, Amelia, New Richmond, and Moscow, Ohio. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, down I-71. So that's probably Kentucky. Yeah, going toward Lexington, right? We're 75. I don't know. Yeah, 71, and because 71 goes from Cleveland to Columbus to Cincinnati, and then continues down. I forget. Doesn't it go all the way to St. Louis? I can't remember. Blockbuster was the bomb. Yeah, here, fun fact, you guys probably have heard this story before. Blockbuster turned down buying Netflix. That's a true story. I mean, coulda, shoulda, woulda. They had an opportunity to buy them when Netflix was that big, and Blockbuster poo-pooed them. I don't. That's not my word of the night, by the way. They shoot them off. They said, no, we don't want to get into that. Mistake, huge mistake. Netflix takes off. Blockbuster, if you remember in their later years, tried to do a mail DVD program just like Netflix. They were too late to the game. The brick and mortar stores was an anchor for them. They weren't able to evolve, and bankruptcy, and they went out of business. But yeah, they had an opportunity. And could you imagine? I mean, it doesn't mean that Netflix would be the same thing it is today, but it could have been. It could have. It might be called Blockbuster now. Blockbuster streaming instead of Netflix. Anybody remember Zayres? It was like K-mart, and I hope I pronounced that right. I remember Lazarus. Yeah, that was cool. They had a few of them, like I said, in Columbus. And so I was working. I used to work at Lazarus. Macy bought them out in 1997. Okay, I think I remembered that. But do you know, Pamela, if any Lazarus still, any of the Macy's that bought out Lazarus still exist? You know, like it's a Macy's store, but it was a Lazarus, or did they just close them all out? Because the ones that I knew, it just closed. There was a Lazarus in Evansville, Indiana. Okay, cool. We got DirecTV because it was new and Mr. Mountain gave us his discount. She's referring to when I worked at Blockbuster. This was one of the ways Blockbuster was trying to diversify. So they weren't completely bad about business practice, but they knew that you couldn't just rent tapes because it was getting, you know, after 2000. And so they started selling DirecTV as a package. They were selling more movies, and they were trying to diversify their product line to keep their bottom line up and make money. But ultimately they succumbed to the whole brick and mortar thing. It's really expensive to own buildings when the internet can, you know, do a lot of stuff. I shop Lazarus, part of the Shalitos Reichs chain. Shalitos Reichs chain. Cool. You know what? That makes me think of another, random fast food place. All you Ohio people, you remember Rax? R-A-X? They used to have like a salad bar with pudding and stuff like that. Did you guys ever eat at Rax? We had Rax when I was growing up. We had some smaller ones in town, like my mom would know, but I don't think they got outside of Columbus. Sister's Chicken and JD Ritzy's. That was really local. That's local stuff. But yeah, Rax was fun. Jubilee and Joe say remember Zaire. If I'm pronouncing that correctly. George Clooney worked in the shoe department at Shalitos. And I did not know that store, so that's cool. Maybe that's one I'll have to find a documentary on and learn about it. Got my first stereo at Zayre's and listened to Peter Frampton live over and over and over. That's a great album by me. Show me the way I want you. There's my singing for the night. I don't know if Chris Bout t-shirt's still there. He takes it. My mom loved to shop at Zayre. Peter Frampton used to live in the Cincinnati area. That's cool. Louisville. Oh, Louisville. Yeah. Okay. Louisville 71. That goes down there. Like your avatar, Sarah. Cute dog. Yeah. Oh, here's Sarah. We can see the avatar now. It just closed, sadly. We went like a week before it closed, and I took a video of the building with barely anything left for the memories. Yeah. Sarah, the one in the Asheville area that closed, they were selling the shelves and the mats, like the fatigue mats you stand on at the register and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if Chris was around. Oh, he's still there. Nice singing, Mr. Mountain Man. But Chris probably has some Kmart stories. We have a Macy's that used to be a Lazarus. Actually, we have two in different malls. Okay, so that does clarify that they still live on. The Lazarus that I knew growing up in Central Ohio had a restaurant in it. That's why I brought it up, because when you go through the mall, you would look up at Lazarus, and the second story had a restaurant. I know my mom had been there. I don't know if I did. I would have been so young. I don't remember it. I just remember it had a restaurant. I mean, that was kind of a thing, right? Before the advent of the food court at the malls, like for department stores and places to have their own restaurant. That's pretty cool. Rax, yes. Also, Naggles. I don't know if I don't know that one. I do not. Naugles. Let's look it up. Naugles. Not Noggles, tacos, and burgers. Now, I don't know if this is the same one, There is one still out in Fountain Valley, California, if that's the same thing. Headquarters in Riverside, California. Once upon a time on Facebook, I came across one of these articles that makes you click like 50 times, but it was all the old nostalgic fast food places that were maybe still open, but only had a few and a lot of things. You know, it's like, oh, I remember that place. I remember that place. Yeah, Crystal says, I remember Rax. Rax was awesome, better than Arby's. I think in our town, Arby's was near Rax. Was it not? I'm trying to remember. Was Arby's across the street from Rax? I don't know. It was, yeah. So I got a little nice singing there, Mr. Mountain Man. I can't hit Peter Frampton's highs there. But again, for those of you that missed the beginning of the live stream, I was talking about a documentary I watched last night on Netflix. I forget the name of it. It was about the music that came out of the 60s from Laurel Canyon, California. Like it was bands like the Beatles and Buffalo Springfield and the Beach Boys and Mamas and the Papas and a few, you know, a lot of those that ended up forming like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, because those guys are spread out in a few of those different bands. Anyway, that was a lot cool. If you like that kind of music, check out that documentary too. That's on Netflix. Same with Waynesville. That's in reference to K-mart. Used to have a good restaurant called Roy Rogers. Yeah, Roy Rogers was fried chicken. I think Roy Rogers might still exist. Yeah, Roy Rogers. If it's the same thing. Hold on. Well, not the singer. Chicken? Roy Rogers Chicken. No. You are right. I don't think there are any left. I mean, there's a link here, but I don't see any near me. Roy Rogers Restaurant. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's open or not. Oh, no, here's a website. Locations. See if we can go to Roy Rogers. Where to find us? Oh, okay. They exist, but they are only in, looks like there's a boatload of them in Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, a lot in Maryland, and a few sprinkled in New York. So anyway, Roy Rogers. Got a couple of those. Chris sings like an angel. We had a restaurant chain here called L. Just L? Oh, sorry. Look at the next one. Looms. Yeah. Truth, Cashew Paul. And by the way, looms or lums, I've never heard of that. I don't know what kind of food that is, Marvin. You'll have to let us know. It sounds like Karen's got it. I'm looking below. Cashew Paul, though your face said a different story on the live stream about Chris's singing. We had looms too. Miss that place. What kind of food was that, by the way, guys? Is that like burgers or something? I look just like my sister looks when you sing. Our Roy Rogers was kind of like an Arby's, roast beef. Okay, cool. I like Arby's. I went there not that long ago. I took a ride on the motorcycle out towards Brevard, North Carolina, and motorcycle was having problems. I needed a new battery, and I broke down out there. While I was out there, I ate at Arby's, and I just ate a lot. Like, I got their sliders, and they have some unusual stuff on the menu. I got a Reuben sandwich. I got a few sliders, and yeah, it was fun. Yeah, Arby's pretty yummy. Also, thank you, Cashew Paul. Actually, not my dog. It was the people's I stayed at when I went to California. Mountain Bernese dog, only 10 months old. Oh man, that's a huge dog. Yeah, that's awesome. Only 10 months old and taller than me. I fell in love with her. That's really, really cool, Sarah Rathbone. Lums was basically burgers and beer. Okay, cool. A lot of places like that still around, but maybe not exactly like that. Does anybody remember a restaurant called Po Folks? It was owned by a country singer. I guess that's a play on poor folks. It's like Po Folks. I don't know. Was that chicken? And Jubilee and Joe says, I remember Po Folks. We stopped at Roy Rogers traveling once. They had roast beef and chicken. Okay. I want to say I've seen those before, but again, if you look at their map, they're all up in the northeast of the country. Chris says, I remember Po Folks in Knoxville. Oh, Mr. Mountain Man Mom says, Lums. There were 3 in Columbus, and we loved them. My closest friend and I were a legal age, and they wanted 3 picture IDs to serve a 3-2 beer. I don't have 3 picture IDs now. I remember that the stories about 3-2 beer, because that was like the watered down beer, right? I have 3 dogs myself, 2 corgis, 1 Sheltie, 7 cats and 6 chickens. Oh, wow, Sarah. That is quite a bunch of animals. I don't know if you have a farm or a house or if these guys roam. That's pretty cool. I have 1 dog. Someday I'll get him in here and I'll pull him up here. And he's about 50-pound dog. Po folks with their mason jar glasses. Oh, okay. So that definitely sounds like a country type place. Our po folks turned into a rural route. Well, that's pretty cool. Rural route. So that must be another restaurant. I remember po folks. Kenny Rogers used to have a Kenny Rogers restaurant in Huber Heights, Ohio, many years ago. 99.9% sure, Crystal. I did a Philippines video. If you guys have watched it on the channel. When I was leaving at the airport, I wanted a water before my flight from the Philippines to Japan, and I stopped at a Kenny Rogers to get a water. And they had a Kenny Rogers there. And I remember that because I was like, I haven't seen a Kenny Rogers in a long time. So they still exist internationally too. I'm an animal lover too, Sarah. I want chickens. Yeah, Po folks was Country Kitchen. Okay, Country Kitchen. That's cool. I am officially caught up on the comments. You guys have been great tonight. It is getting late, so I think I'm going to wrap up the live stream. We've had some great conversations tonight about nostalgia of fast food, about department stores, about hobbies, about the weather, and all that. So I'm really glad that you guys hung out tonight and joined me on this Better Late Than Never, Mr. Mountain Man. I hope I am gonna go ahead and wrap this up here in a second. Thank you to, as I always do, let me run through some of the names here. Crystal C, Chris Bout T-shirt, Sarah Rathbone, Karen Story, Cashew Paul, Jubilee and Joe, Mr. Mountain Man Mom, Marvin Carlton, first one here across the finish line when he started today. Pamela, let me see, moving through. We had Sexy Matt earlier. We had PT Adventures, AAA Art Abandonment Adventures. We had Dr. J was in here earlier hanging out a little bit. And that's as far as the comments let me go. If I missed your name, I apologize. I really appreciate everybody. It's a fun community. We had a great chat tonight. Hopefully anybody who missed it can come back in and do it and check it out. Everybody have a great, safe week. Stay bundled up. It's cold out there. Enjoy winter time. It's a great time of the year. I hope you're having a great start to your new year. Be safe. Enjoy. Take care. Have a great week. And I will see you next time for the next Mountain Man Monday. Good night, everyone. Take care.